Hey guys, Jeff here. It's been a little while since I uploaded one of my Zoom consults, but this one was pretty cool. I wanted to share with everyone. The resident dog is guarding the new baby. So what I mean by that is the dog is not allowing visitors to come near the baby and mom when they're in a particular area of the house. So this was a Zoom consult surrounding that. Fortunately, there haven't been any aggressive physically escalating behaviors going on as far as the dog is concerned, targeting people approaching. But nevertheless, it was a pretty cool Zoom. We covered a few different things and I offered some solutions. And at the time I'm taping this, I already got word back from the family that our suggestions are working and the dog is becoming a little desensitized to friendly strangers approaching mom and the baby. So far, so good. Anyway, I will shut up, take a look at this Zoom, and don't forget, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Take a peek around my channel. I have about 250 videos or something like that. Take a spin around my channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. Helps me with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. Okay, so I saw the text message. I just didn't know who all the players were. You were talking that he growled at you when you were taking care of somebody for somebody, and
Yeah, he's only done it like twice, and I'm the mother of this is my daughter Maggie, and she just
okay.
had a baby. And Stanley's just been kind of really focused on her and the baby since they've been home from the hospital. And he's fine most of the time, but a couple of times he acted like he wanted to come after me a little bit. Kind of made me nervous.
Okay, can you describe the sequence of events when he wanted to come after you?
So he was laying on the bed, on the edge of the bed, and the baby was in the bedside bassinet. And she was helping me put him in his swaddle. So she was kind of reaching into the bassinet with me. And he kind of went for her hand. He didn't actually bite it, but he sounded and acted like he was going to.
Okay, so all the incidences were involving the baby and taking care of the baby.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and what's that?
He's never done that before. He's only done this since we brought the baby home.
Right. Okay, and how many incidents were there altogether?
Just two so far.
Okay, and when was the baby born?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
But see, I've been around him a couple of times, 3 times this week, and he's been fine. The only thing I've noticed, like if he's really close to the baby, like he was near that docker top or near the bassinet, he was like laying on a pillow facing it, and he would just stare at me. And of course, when I went to reach down to help, that's when he kind of lunged a little bit. Not, bad, but enough to scare me.
Okay. And this is the only time he's ever exhibited this type of behavior?
Yes.
Okay. And this is going to sound odd, but could he have bitten you if he really wanted to?
I think so, yeah. I mean, he was close enough, he could have.
Okay. All right.
I think more like a warning type situation, maybe.
Okay, sure. And now Stanley is your dog or Maggie's?
my dog.
Okay. And has he lived with all of you at the same time, or?
At one point he did, because Maggie and Zeb were living with me when we first adopted him, because Zeb was in the military. Then they moved and got their own home. And then I just came and visited, whatever. So y'all been here, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been here 2 years now, with just he and Stark and now the baby.
Okay, wait. I'm just trying to gather my timing here. So, how long have you had Stanley?
We've had Stanley since 2018.
2019. Okay.
18.
2018.
November of 2018.
Okay, and you were living somewhere else with Stanley the first
I was
couple.
her.
Okay. Wait a minute. So Stanley is in the house he's always been in.
We've been in this house with Stanley, me and my husband and Stanley. We've been here for 2 years. when we first adopted him, we all lived with my mom at that time. So he knows my mom and is familiar with her, I guess is what she was trying to say.
Okay, all right, all right. So, Lori, you don't live at the house you're at now, the house
No.
there.
No.
Okay, all right, I got you. Okay, all right. So, Lori, you're a visitor.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. When was the first time you visited the baby and an incident occurred?
I don't remember the
Did he do
first time.
anything before that?
The first time?
Did he do anything? What was the first time?
Well, we did the first time.
He didn't do anything like that.
No, he was just kind of watching, hyper focused on me, I guess,
Yeah.
first time.
He's kind of what I call herded my mother-in-law too. Like nibbling in, but he wasn't biting her.
Was this surrounding the baby as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was holding the baby in the bed, and she was coming to sit down on the bed beside me.
Okay.
And for the bed, but when she was trying to get up on the bed, he was following her, trying to kind of herd her
away
from getting on the bed.
Gotcha.
He was still, the weird thing is sometimes he'll still be wagging his tail and stuff like that. But it just kind of makes me nervous a little bit.
Okay, so prior to the baby's arrival, how often would your mom and mother-in-law visit?
My mom would probably visit the most, and then mother-in-law and father-in-law have had to keep the dogs for us like overnight, maybe a handful of times. So they've had to, he's spent the night with her before, in this house.
Okay, all right.
All of my husband's brothers came over to see the baby, but he was still too scared of them because he doesn't know them that way to actually get close enough to do anything to them, because that's his normal behavior, is being, scared of people.
Mm-hmm.
So he's only done it to people that he is familiar with, I guess you could say.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so I don't want this to come out the wrong way. So he doesn't have the confidence to thoroughly do his job, but for some reason he feels like he has a job to do. That's what it sounds like.
That sounds exactly like.
As it pertains to the baby.
Right.
So obviously, the worst case scenario in these situations is when the dog is targeting the baby. That's not happening at all. So that's a good thing. So, and I don't know him, obviously. I don't know the environment or the household or the other dog that's involved. So in a situation like this, because there's been 2 incidents and then I guess a couple with your mother-in-law, all surrounding approaching the baby, right?
Yeah, and then at the beginning he would keep the other dog away from me and the baby too, but now he doesn't do that as much anymore, and the other dog just kind of stays away sometimes, I think, because I guess Stanley's trying to come out as more of the alpha dog.
Protector or something.
Right. Yeah, that's, it's not uncommon that dogs change, and Maggie, you probably, if you think about it, he probably started changing as early as when you were 4 or 5 months pregnant. That's often a time when people see shifts in their dog's behavior, whether it's more protective, or they're a little needy and they start laying on mom's lap a little more, and they start clinging to mom and expecting mom, that is. So I'm not sure if that happened, but in this case, so we have specific triggers in 2 incidents, going directly to the baby, whether it's to assist you or whatever. When it happened, what was your response?
My response was I backed off.
So with Julia, I just kind of calmly, was trying to tell him like, no, Stanley, back up, it's fine. Because he really wasn't, he didn't look like he was being like aggressive, because I've seen those videos where people try to say it's cute when dogs do that, when they kind of try to nibble at you or herd you. So with her, I wasn't as on edge. I didn't like it because he gets so like close to people, like because he'll get right up in their face. But when he did that to Mama, it did scare me. So I did yell, and that time I told him no, and I kind of popped him on the nose. And that's when I told Mama we probably need to call, because I don't want to do that either, because I know that's probably the wrong thing to do too.
So when you verbally reprimanded him prior to physical, did he respond?
With the herding incident?
Yeah, like when your mom, Lori, was going towards the baby, he reacted, Lori backs away, you yell at him and bonk him on the nose?
Yeah, because he like growled, and I thought he actually bit her. I didn't know until afterwards that he didn't actually like bite her, but it sounded like he bit her.
Okay.
His mouth touched my hand. I mean, it went to my hand. I just
Right.
kind of backed quick.
Yeah.
And then he growled after that.
Okay, so after you reprimanded him, what did it work? What was his demeanor?
I made him get in the kennel, and he went and got in the kennel. Because he backed off, but he was still like right there with his nose to the bassinet. So I didn't want him to, because he was right there, right where me and the baby were.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I said, Stanley, get in the kennel, and he went and laid down in the kennel.
Right. Okay, so there's a couple of different approaches here. Is the first one is to understand his anxiety when someone other than you are approaching your baby.
Right.
That's something for individual parents to decide. So you can manage the behavior proactively by, if you know you need assistance, put him in the kennel or put him somewhere proactively in a positive manner. So separation is not a punishment or anything like that. The other option is you can hold the baby, and you can, kind of stage exercises where, let's say you're sitting on the couch or something holding the baby, and mom comes over. As mom starts approaching, generally, I don't know about Stanley, but generally what dogs do is they position themselves between mom, baby, and the person coming on.
Yeah, he does that.
Okay, so let's say you're sitting on the couch, mom enters the room, Stanley positions, right? That's a clear communication. I'm uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable with the presence of this person. You have to dissociate yourself from that. Your mom sitting next to you. Your relationship with her has nothing to do with the situation, right? She's a person coming towards you and your baby, right? That's kind of putting us in the mindset of Stanley. Okay, so let's say mom enters the room, Stanley positions himself. Lori, if you want to have high value treats, something that Stanley's never had before, hot dog, chopped up hot dog, something super yummy, and call him towards you, right? And does he know any basic commands, or will he come to you when you call him?
Yeah.
Okay, so call him, give him a couple of treats, good boy, and leave the room. Okay, that's kind of step one. You have to create multiple repetitions of this exercise to start creating a positive experience with you approaching, right? And initially, it could just be your presence in the same room. It may not. You may have to enter the room, take a few steps towards them, Lori, before Stanley. And you don't need to be an expert in dog behavior to see Stanley shifting a little bit where he starts to be a little anxious, right?
Yeah. If he can't see, he turns around to, get that line of view.
Right. Yeah. And the good thing here is that, well, not that it's a good thing, poor choice of words. It's helpful that it's happened 2 times before with no physical escalation on Stanley's part, meaning no successful bites, right? So we can navigate around that a little bit. So those are like the 2 things I would initially come to my mind. Whereas one, manage it, right, is, put him somewhere proactively in a positive manner, so he doesn't feel like he's being isolated or punished. The other one is for a couple of trusted people, mom or your mother-in-law or whatever. You have to kind of recreate the crime, but change the script, right? Instead of people coming straight at you and the baby, we're just presenting ourselves so we can take an assessment of Stanley's demeanor, call him to us, change his mindset and his thoughts, and then go from there. That's kind of how you would start. And again, I don't know. I wouldn't do this with everyone. I would do it with the few trusted people that you need to have this accomplished.
I wonder why he only did it like today. He's been fine. I've approached the baby and he's been fine the whole time. And then the next day I might come and then that's what he does.
Yeah, we don't, it depends on the situation.
Yes, or so, I don't know.
Did it happen in two different rooms or the same room?
Same
room.
Okay. Did you go into the room without incident in the same situation?
Yeah, today.
So you guys were both tending to the baby?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And where was Stanley?
In the bed.
Same spot?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, his nose wasn't as close.
What's that?
His nose wasn't in the bassinet. I went straight from the door to Maggie, who was sitting up in the bed. When the situation happened before, the baby was in the bassinet, and I approached the bassinet, and he was close to the bassinet at that time.
Okay, so
I think it's different if I hand her the baby and then he doesn't act like that, if that makes sense. Like if I'm holding the baby and she comes towards me and the baby, I feel like it's different, because you'll also see a lot of times too, if I leave the room, he follows me. So I've noticed that too. He doesn't always stay with the baby. He'll follow me into the other room to see what I'm doing.
Okay, so that's another tactic, if you will, as far as managing his behavior, is how we exchange the baby. And then I guess his position and proximity to the bassinet is another trigger, right? So that's another option where, again, and this is something where it may never happen again, especially the more often this happens, the more comfortable he'll get with that situation. I'm of the mindset, let's not wait for it to happen again. Let's start changing the script. Every time you come in the room, if wherever Stanley is, I don't care if he's on the bed, nose in the bassinet, laying on the floor, if he follows you in, it doesn't matter. Get him, Stanley, come. Good boy, sit, good boy. Give him a couple of treats, make it all positive, and then go about your business, okay? Now, if he does react, ideally, and it's challenging when you have a baby that you're tending to, if you see him shift, Maggie, you could certainly correct him. You don't have to be physical, but you could certainly, kind of give him a quick verbal. But having, whether it's Lori or your mother-in-law, having them come into the room with treats, we can always work through it by, redirecting Stanley onto a positive behavior. The problem with, I shouldn't say the problem, what we want to avoid is coming into the room and the person coming in going right to the baby. We want to have a bridge between the person entering the room, interacting with Stanley, and then going to the baby, because it only, it's a couple of seconds. It's not a whole lot that really impacts your life. Again, it just changes the whole chemistry of the situation and the person approaching you and the baby.
Right.
So,
yeah, because at the beginning that happened with the father-in-law too, but the way he approached been kind of scary to a lot of dogs anyway. Because I was sitting, in the rocker with the baby, and he just walked straight up, and he's really big, kind of broad shoulder, and Stanley's more scared of men anyways, and he just kind of walked up like straight up to me, and that's when Stanley kind of stood up and growled at him. He didn't do anything, but I don't think he didn't like the way that he approached.
Right. Now, has this ever happened when you were not present, Maggie?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Oh, well, I mean, not as far as like growling or anything like that, but I know I wasn't in the room when my father-in-law was holding him, he said that Stanley was standing like right beside him, like staring at him, which he normally wouldn't do. He normally would be kind of far away from him.
I like Stanley. I'm just gonna say it.
You're supposed to. And my husband's in the room either.
Yeah. So all right. So with Lori or with your mom or your mother-in-law, no issues, whether growling, snapping, or the herding type nipping has ever occurred with just the baby. It was always surrounding you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So obviously the baby's a big part of it. And, Stanley's had a relationship with the baby for almost a year now, right? You don't realize that, but, they know, so I would say take the proactive approach when possible, right? As far as changing the culture of how people enter the room that you and the baby are in. And then the other option is if you can't do that, it's okay to put Stanley away proactively in a positive manner. Maybe you're having visitors and you just don't feel like being bothered, right? I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes, you just had a baby. You may not want to be bothered one day, right? There's no point in doing that exercise if you're not in the mood, right? So proactively, put Stanley up in the kennel, make it positive, do it before people get there. This way you don't have to worry about it. You could just tend to your visitors and the baby.
Yeah, we did that with his grandmother, just because that's a little, little different, older people trying to walk. And
yeah, I mean, older people, new people that he's never been around or hasn't really been around at all. That's not a situation that he's going to succeed in.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I mean, again, you could certainly work through it if you wanted to, but at the same time, like, and I don't know, maybe this is the non-dog trainer in me, but like part of me, like, he's doing his job. Like, it just sucks that it's towards your family, but
yeah.
But again, if we can change the script with trusted caretakers, I think that's a really good first step into, making him feel more comfortable with the situation overall.
I guess the only question I have is, so say we do all that, or, say something does happen again, how would you, because like we just don't know, what I'm saying? Like, I know it's not right to pop him and I don't want to yell at him, but I don't, like, what would you say is the right approach? Like, say that situation happened, what would you have done?
So I don't hit dogs. I definitely don't do anything negative in the face. I've pulled dogs away on a collar, or I had to kind of manipulate their bodies or check them out of the way, but I never do anything negative in the face. My concern with correcting him is you corrected him for communicating. So he literally gave overt warning signals that he was uncomfortable, and you corrected him for that. So he learned that communication alone may not work. So in his mind, he may have to escalate next time because communication alone may not work, right? Whereas, and I know that it's hard when I say the word communicate. If it was more than communication, somebody would have gotten bitten, right? There's no, unless you guys are like, as fast as Flash Gordon, right? Most dogs, even little dogs, big older dogs, if they're within a couple of inches of someone, if they want to bite, they're going to bite. And very few humans are going to be able to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Period. I would say if he exhibits again, the best recourse is to stop all the action that's occurring in the room. So what that means is the person who entered, right? And now keep in mind, this is a possibility now, right? One time throws you completely by surprise.
Yeah, I think it just scared me because the baby was right there too. Like,
right.
He went over the baby to get to her, and that kind of scared me.
Right. So one time shocks the heck out of us. The second time you're still pretty surprised, right? there's no secrets now.
Yeah.
We know what his mindset is in that situation, so we can control it.
Right.
Right. So let's say mom enters the room. You see, this is where you might be holding the baby, but you got to take a peek at Stanley. If he starts to shift a little bit, maybe he gets a little stiff. And Lori, you have to be open to this too. Like if you notice, and even if you're not sure, number one, don't back away. Number two, don't take a step forward. Just stop. Let's stop. We stop everything, right? So Stanley's uncomfortable. Now we can tend to Stanley, right? Because there's two things that happen. If we continue forward, Stanley could escalate, right? If we back away, it validates his state of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're totally different. Like my mother-in-law would just keep going, and she was like backing up.
Yeah. So
you don't need to act scared. And I was like, you should probably stop.
Yeah. So, and I mean, again, not that it was a good thing that happened, but we have information now.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't have information prior to the first incident. Now we do. So again, in the ideal situation, every time now is all about a training session, not just about the baby, right? It's about working with Stanley, and because I mean, he has anxiety as it is, right?
Yeah,
thank God, if he was a confident dog, mom might have got bit.
He's probably scared to do it, I guess.
Right, and now keep in mind too. Now you also mentioned he's doing it to the other dog, so like this is a successful behavior for Stanley. He's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Right. So if we change the definition of success for this situation, and success is more about, oh, there's Lori, and I'm going to go to Lori. I'm going to sit. I'm going to get some hot dogs. Oh my God, this is great. And we're going to pet him, and we're going to make it fun. And then we're going to, continue on our way. But again, we need that bridge behavior, that bridge interaction from entering the room to getting to the baby.
Okay.
And then see how that goes. And if at all possible, if you do happen to stage this little exercise, if you could take video of it, that would be really helpful, because then I could see Stanley, if he shifts, what his body language is saying, and I might be able to point out some signals he's giving, even if nothing happens.
Okay, good.
So if you let's say you're going to stage this little, you're going to set up a little encounter. If you could kind of prop the phone up on a dresser or something, but do it this way, because I'll get a bigger frame, so I'll be able to see more of the environment. This way, when I could see the dog and the dog's body language, it helps me offer some more specific feedback. But
okay,
yeah. So those are my thoughts. And again, if it's a new visitor or someone that doesn't frequent the house that much, that might be more of a situation where you manage things as opposed to try to modify the previous interactions.
Right. Okay. Well, like I said, I feel like it is good that he's not aggressive towards the baby. That was, the first fear, because we didn't know how the dogs would respond. But I know that he is, in his head, he has a job, is to protect me and to protect the new baby. So I just didn't want anything bad to happen because of it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. With a newborn involved, even if the dog has no ill intent, accidents can. A paw or something could inadvert. You know what I mean? So that's why, and that's why his position too. Stanley's position in the room, as far as proximity to the baby, is an important part of the equation for us to assess. Is he more anxious the closer he is? Is he anxious when you're in a specific area of the room with the baby, etc.?
Okay.
So partly we have some work to do. Partly we're still gathering information when we stage these little exercises.
Okay.
Sound good?
That sounds good to me.
Any questions or anything else, concerns that might pop up?
I don't think so right now.
Okay. Well, if something pops up, Lori, you have my cell phone, so you could always shoot me a text message if it's a quick one. If there was something that, maybe even if it was relatively benign, if there was, just call me if you want to talk about something as well. So yeah. So bottom line, set up these modification sessions. When in doubt, manage, meaning
Okay.
he goes away proactively.
Remove him from the situation.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a wonderful night and congratulations. It's a really, really exciting time for you.
Yeah, it is. We just ever sure everything's good.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.